Hey there, my name's Kevin. I'm a wedding photographer based in Toronto, Canada. I've been a photographer for like 11 years. I've photographed well over 300 weddings. I've had a team of 4 people. We've gone down to just me. I've helped plenty of photographers along the way. And I also currently, along with my wife, we run another photographer's business for them. So we've just seen over the last 11 years what has worked, what hasn't. I've also spent a lot of time, money, and resources just on like getting better, learning more about buyer psychology, sales psychology, and how to sell albums, how to better sell, how to do discovery calls and not sales calls, and all of that stuff. So I've just seen in the wedding space specifically what works and what doesn't. And I gave this presentation that I'm gonna go through with you last week, and I thought, okay, well maybe I'll just make a video going through it. I'm just gonna do one take. So you're gonna maybe hear me clear my throat, having some sips of coffee a few times. But yeah, if someone finds this helpful, great. I mean, I have nothing to sell other than if you want help, feel free to DM me. Like if you want to work together long term, yeah, I'd charge for that. But if you have questions along the way, just send me a DM. It's at Morning Light Photo on Instagram. But yeah, so I'm gonna try to include screenshots from the presentation I gave. But we're gonna talk about the client journey, and I'm just so confident that if you just do some of these things, it's going to work and you're going to make more money and your clients are going to like you more and it's just going to be a win-win-win for everyone. I think one of the biggest things is there's not going to be one singular thing that's going to change your business. There's no such thing as a silver bullet, but it's 1,000 golden BBs. And it's like just like little things stacked on top of each other, or little thing on top of little thing on top of little thing. All of a sudden you're like, whoa, how come things got better? And it's just like all these compounding things on top of each other. So if you just do that, just take a couple things, implement them, then come back to this, or just go to someone else and also add some more stuff from there. But let's start by understanding that weddings are a complex sales transaction. Like in a complex sales transaction, do I have it here, is defined when you have basically, there's gonna be multiple decision makers, there's a lot of money at risk. You can't redo it, and it's a big emotional and financial investment. So there's a lot of factors, and it's not just the bride or the groom or the couple, or one of the people from the couple who are making the decision. It's usually at least two people, and then there's usually friends involved or family involved. And often, especially as you start getting to higher and higher tiers of weddings, families start to get much more involved. So you need to not know how to sell not just to one person, but to multiple people. And the best way of doing it is understanding the different buyer types and what drives people. So for me, my business coach is Sam Jacobson right now, and he is amazing from ID Action. This is where I learned the buyer types from. And if you look online, you're gonna find different people have different names for buyer types, whether you go from like the Enneagram to the DISC assessment to all the different things that there are. But I love how Sam classifies them. So there's going to be dreamers, bosses, relators, and analyzers. Dreamers tend to be driven by like vision, bosses end results and efficiency, relators connection, belonging, and comfort. Analyzers be like logic, data, and proof. And so a really easy way to spot them is like based on their jobs. Like you're going to see analyzers have a lot of like information-based jobs, while relators are a lot of care-based jobs. Bosses tend to be a lot of like jobs like end result based. I think like consultants, lawyers, that kind of thing, and dreamers are often more creative, that kind of thing. If you want a deeper dive on that, Sam Jacobson on the Own Your Business podcast has a ton of information there. And so, yeah, if you could understand those, I really think like that's the core concept. Understand that and like what people value, and then from there, that will help you change how you do your marketing, how you write your copy, how you communicate to your clients. I still remember for me, the first time that I realized I was really getting it is I was talking to the bride who was a therapist and to the groom who was a lawyer, and talking to her about all of the moments, the sweet moments, like the photos of the tears coming down the face and all of that stuff. Well, for the groom, I was talking about the end result, and at the end of the night, how he's going to have the big party and everyone's going to think he's the man. And both of them said, wow, I feel like you just get us. And what's cool is that was so in service of them. We shouldn't just be selling to because it's and being slimy with it. No, we should try to be in service to people and to help people. And so I could talk to the bride the way she wanted to be talked to, and the groom the way he wanted to be talked to. And to me, that's great sales. Talk to people how they want to be talked to. So yeah, so that's the core concept for me. Like understand the buyer types, and Sam Jacobson does a lot there. Yeah, and then so from there it comes the next thing in the client journey would be understanding pricing on your website. Well, number one, have a website and have a good website at that, and you can write a lot of really great copy. And if you're not sure what to write about, go back to past clients and send them a a form where they can answer a bunch of questions about like what was it like working with you, what were things that they valued on their wedding day from working with you, what were their favorite photos, or beforehand, like how many photographers did you look at, like what did you like about my work, or how many people were involved with helping you find a photographer, and what would you tell a potential bride who is or a couple who is looking to work with me. Those are all going to be really great questions to ask, and this way you can get all the information you need to figure out who is your buyer type. What I'm saying is figure out what things do they value, and then you can start talking about those things on your website, and then have photos of the things that people value. I mean, so if we're dreamers, you're going to have like lots of details, bosses, you're going to have lots of like very sensory experiences. Relators are going to have lots of the photos of connection. Analyzers, that's a good question. I don't have that written down right now, but I'll have to go back and check. But like I said, I'm doing this all in one take. So yeah, and then the next thing on your website would be your contact form. You can contact forms are, I find, a contentious issue. It's like, how many questions do you have? Like, I think it's just going to depend. This is not a set it and forget it. This is going to be a how are your inquiries right now? If you have a ton of inquiries, add some more questions, add friction. If you don't have a ton of inquiries, get rid of as many questions as possible. If you don't have a lot of inquiries and you want more, just have like the name, the wedding date, and email. This way you can see, am I available? And what's your name, and this way I can email you back. If you have lots of inquiries, you can start asking about what's your vision. You can also ask, like, do you have a planner? What's your budget? Like, those are all questions like adding friction. The more friction you add, you're going to get a lot less inquiries, but they're probably also going to be more serious. So it just depends on what you want. Like, there's not a right or wrong. I think in so many parts of business, like there's best practices, but it's based on what are your goals and what are you actually trying to do. So then from there, I'm talking about like the budget and like what's your price. There's going to be different pricing strategies. And so you can have like your full pricing online. You can also have no pricing online. I like doing something somewhere in the middle where I have a starting price on my services page. This way it just tells people like, hey, I'm not hiding it. It starts here, and all my packages are custom based on what they're looking for. And I just think the reason this is really important, I really think that like pricing should start the conversation, not end it. It should be, okay, cool. Like it starts there. Okay, well, we're willing to spend at least that or in and around that, so we can just go from there and contact you and try to find out some more information. So to me, like I said, start the conversation. It shouldn't end the conversation. And when you have your full pricing online, I think you can end the conversation really quick of like yes or no. And often people actually spend more money on their photographer than they initially thought. Like I found, for at least myself, clients on average spend 30% more than they originally said by the end of the transaction. So like not just like once they've booked, but once their wedding is done and albums are bought and all of that stuff. I just think that if we can just be in service of people and help them realize maybe what they don't know, maybe they thought they only need 8 hours, but they actually need 10, and oh wow, they're flying a ton of people in, so maybe they want welcome dinner coverage or rehearsal dinner coverage. You just don't know what you don't know, right? Most people haven't been married before or haven't at least planned too many weddings, so it's our job to be in service to people. And then after the inquiry, it's like what happens next. And I think like that is like one of the biggest things that you can do in the entire process is whenever the client or the lead rather goes through something, or they complete a milestone, they complete a step in your client journey, ask yourself what happens next. And so once they're filling out the form, just say thank you, we'll get back to you soon, or can you send them to a thank you page? And it's really another sales page that builds trust, because at this point they've taken the first step to reach out, and now they're wondering, did I make the right call? Do I actually want to meet with them? All of that fun stuff. So what I would do is I would create a thank you page that has lots of testimonials, which is part of the reason why I said go and interview past clients or send them a survey where you can get as much information as humanly possible about the things that they value, so you can write your copy, but then you also have testimonials you can use on your website. And then I would clearly lay out like what happens next, and also set expectations for response time and all of that fun stuff. Another thing you can also do once they inquire is have in the CRM you use, there's tons of CRMs at this point. I am currently using Sprout Studio as my CRM, and in the lead workflow, I have an email that automatically goes out, and I even say, this is an automated email just to let you know I've received your inquiry. Here's 3 weddings you may want to look at. I'll get back to you as soon as I can with a more personalized response. And I try to get back to people within an hour, 2 hours tops. I find speed to lead is super important. I was talking to a friend who runs ads for a lot of companies. He was just talking about how if they can't get people like on the phone within 5-10 minutes, they just don't even bother following up with a lead because it's not worth it. I think that's maybe extreme, but if that's in so many different industries, how like if you want to get back to people super quick and it increases the chance of people booking, okay, well then let's get back to people really quickly. And the amount of times I've heard from people, wow, thanks so much for getting back to me so quickly. I haven't heard back from the other photographers yet. Get them on a call and then get them on a follow-up call, all of that fun stuff. So just try to get back to people really, really quick. I think you'll increase your conversion rate that way. And like I said, it's not just one thing, it's all the little things that add up on top of each other. And then, inevitably, people don't respond to emails. So it's like, well, how often do we follow up? Do we follow up at all? Like how many? All that fun stuff. So the way I like to do emails is I used to do like 6, 10, 12 emails. I actually booked it with someone one time on the 11th email, but I find for most people, it's just the juice isn't worth the squeeze. So what I've done is I've got it down to like 3 emails, and then past the third, if they don't answer that, then I'll close it if they're still ghosting me. So the first one was like a warm nudge of like, hey, Kevin, did you get the email that I sent? And basically make sure it sounds in your brand voice and all that fun stuff. The next would be social proof. So this could be with some testimonials in it. Or if you're blogging, they say, hey, I've actually written a couple blogs about choosing a wedding photographer or different wedding venues. Here you go. It's a way of reaching out. And then after that, have basically saying, hey, I just want to reach out to see are you still interested before I open back up your date. But this is okay. Going back to the second email though, this is why blogging is definitely not dead. Like I get a lot of traffic from blogging. I have one blog post that was written in I think 2018, and then in the I think early 2024, Google picked it up, and now it's the most visited page on my website, and it's a number as of November 18th, 2025, it's currently the #1 result for engagement photo poses in Canada. So blogging is definitely not dead, and sometimes it can take a really long time, but good evergreen content can definitely drive traffic to your website. So don't sleep on blogging. It can actually be super helpful. And then, so basically the way I would, basically, let's say they inquire, when do you send the emails is what I'm getting at. So let's say they inquire a day or 2 later, 2 days later, you could send that warm nudge email. Let's say 3-4 days later, you send the next one if they don't reply. 5-6 days later, 7 days later, you send the third email, and then 7 days after that, if they haven't replied, they're probably not getting back to you. So that's the follow-up sequence that I would go with. But let's say they say, hey, let's get on a discovery call. Let's chat. And so that's great. This is one of the other, buyer types were like the main core thing. This would be like number 2. Discovery calls are not sales calls. And this is actually statistically the best way of selling in complex sales transactions. You can argue me all you want. The book, The Challenger Sale, which is a commentary on like the biggest study of complex sales transactions ever done. Yes, it's in B2B, not B2C. So maybe there's slight differences, but this is objectively the best way of selling in complex sales transactions, which wedding photography is. So this is not a sales call. So the whole goal of this is to figure out if you can serve them well, what kind of buyer type they are, what are the things that they value. So you, for example, you would want to have the 3 Ps, or at least one of the 3 Ps. So you have price, project, and personality. I at least want to get paid my prices, and then if I can get an awesome project where it's going to be great for the portfolio, awesome. Or maybe the couple's just like super, super cool and they seem great. That's going to be great too. So if you can get 2 out of the 3, awesome. If you get all 3, you might get 1 or 2 a year that are all 3, but if you can get 2 out of 3, that's great. And I think one of the best things you can do is be curious and ask open-ended questions, match their body language, match their energy, and then change. You don't want to just sell the same way to everyone. Figure out, like I was saying earlier, what do they value and talk about that. Oh, and the one person, if you can get both people on the call, and what do they value? Talk about that. Sell to them how they want to be sold. Talk to them the way they want to be talked to. And one of the best things you can do too is shut up and let them talk. It's so hard for me because I love talking. Like I'm recording a video of myself talking right now. So, but from what I've seen and read and heard, it's if you can talk like 30% of the time and let them talk the other 70% of the time, that's gonna be the ideal. And at the end of the call, if they're a good fit, one of my favorite sayings, I think it's from Alex Hormozy, is BAM fam, book a meeting from a meeting. If you can get people on a follow-up call, you're 50% more likely to book them. Also, then it gives them something to look forward to. It also shows that you're confident because, hey, I'm gonna send you guys over a custom proposal with 3 options that fit exactly what you guys are looking for. But inevitably, people are gonna have questions. Why don't we hop on a quick call, just go over any questions you have before moving forward? How's that sound to you guys? Great, awesome. What days next week or at the end of this week work for you? So always book a meeting from a meeting, BAM fam. But yeah, get people on the follow-up call and you're gonna be more likely to book them. And then once they say yes, you obviously got to send over the contract and request the first payment. So for me, I try to make it as easy as possible for people. I'm in Canada, so we have e-transfer, kind of like ACH from what I understand if you're in the States. And then also credit card. I don't charge the extra 3% for credit card fees. I just take it as a cost of doing business. I guess you can do that to maybe deter people. But you can pay by e-transfer, credit card, nice and easy. And so what I like to do, because a lot of photographers, in terms of a payment structure, is 30% up front and then 20%. There's going to be a winter payment of some sort, and then the remaining balance a month before. And so the reason I've set it up this way is most photographers are very cash rich in the summer and very cash poor in the end of fall, winter, and early spring. And so if we can alleviate, and if you're like somewhere where it's got like proper winters, so if we can alleviate some of that, I think that's great. So having a winter payment definitely helps. So if you have a spring wedding, you're going to have a payment in January. If you have a summer wedding, you're going to have a payment in February. If you have a fall wedding, you have a payment in March. This way it just evens out the cash flow. So this way you don't have these crazy spikes. This way you have more even cash flow, and then it alleviates some of maybe that pressure and anxiety around the winter of like having no money, which then helps you make, when you feel better, you don't feel as anxious about not having money. You can make better decisions for your business. So that's how I structure my payments. But once again, once people book, once they go through a step in the client journey, you have to ask yourself, what is next? So they booked. What happens after they book? So I think we want to try to get as many quick wins as possible. So write them a handwritten thank you card. You'd be shocked how far handwritten notes go still today in 2025. So I've spent a lot of money on some really nice cardstock with my logo on it, because as a photographer, unless they're getting an album, they're not getting anything until the very end of the experience, or nothing at all. So if I can give them something physical that looks really nice, really luxurious, it's like, wow, Kevin spent some money on this. This looks really good. Or at least they just feel it. And so many of these things are subconscious about how they feel. Yeah, so I'll send them that thank you note. Within 24 hours, I'll send them a thank you page or welcome page, which just walks them through like, hey, thanks so much for booking. Here's some stuff that you need to know. Here's some vendors I love, all of that fun stuff. And then throughout the process, I think one of the best things you can do is avoid making your clients do shadow work. What is it? I remember looking it up. It's like around 500 hours that a couple will spend planning their wedding. That's on top of them already working jobs and seeing friends and family. And yes, it's a very exciting time, but it's a lot of work. So let's try to alleviate as much work as possible. Yes, I know we need to get, there's logistical things we need to get, like timeline or locations of stuff. But if we can alleviate as much work as humanly possible, that's great. I just think really the sentiment, because I've talked to people and they're like, what about this or what about that? My sentiment around it is, how can we be in service to the client and make them do as little work as possible so they can have the best experience? Like every communication should reduce stress and not add to it. And then, yeah, obviously on the wedding day, we need to do a great job. You're probably a great photographer, so good job. And people say under promise, over deliver, or just promise and then over deliver, and try to get sneak peeks to people really quickly. Try to, let's say they have the turnaround time is 8 weeks for their wedding photos. Try to get them in 6. That's 6. Try to get them in 4. Like just how do we be in service to people and go above and beyond for them? So to me, like that one's pretty easy. And then afterwards, how do we turn our clients into marketing assets? So this is where like writing blog posts comes in handy. So we can do venue-based blog posts. We can do blog posts about wedding planning. You got to figure out what's important to your clients, and then use the photos from their wedding days for those blog posts. You can also use them on your website for your Instagram. Those are all things I think are pretty self-explanatory. But then you can also, once again, go and interview your clients, send them surveys, so then you can get more information, so you can make your website even better. You can have more testimonials. You can ask them then to, you can like copy some of the things they said in the survey or in your call. You can take from the transcript and say, hey, you said this. Would you mind leaving a Google review? Which then helps your SEO because you're ranking higher in Google. You can also then use your favorite weddings of the year to showcase on your portfolio, so you can show more recent work. And so then once you have these weddings done, you do all of that, that then helps your SEO and more people find you, so you can start this whole process over again when people reach out to you, and then you have this amazing workflow that you can lead leads through all the way to clients and make them feel cared for throughout the entire client journey. Capturing feedback is just like super, super important. It's going to help you become a better business owner. You can talk to people the way they want to be talked to even better. But as I'm wrapping this all up, every step should build trust. You want to speak their language. You want to simplify the complex, make it nice and easy for them, because here's the thing, we have the curse of knowledge. Donald Miller from Building a Story Brand talks all about this, where we know so much about the wedding industry. We know so much about wedding photography. We think everyone does. They just don't. So if we can simplify the process to make it as easy as possible for people, you're doing the right job. And then gather stories, ask for feedback, collect reviews, share authentic client experiences, and then afterwards use all of that stuff to create content. And it's just like this ever-going cycle. And to me, that's honestly how you're going to create a sustainable business. And then you can slowly raise your prices, which is a whole another topic for another time, which I'd love to talk about. But I hope this was helpful. If you're watching and this does sound helpful, this was helpful, let me know. Also, if you have any questions, let me know. Feel free to DM me. I'll put my Instagram link below, or you can just DM me on Instagram at morninglightphoto, or you can send me an email through my website, that's about it right now. Like I said, hope this is helpful, and thanks so much for watching.